Hi, welcome back. I wanted to talk about some things that have been on my mind. I just got back from sharing my Blu-ray copy um, of Barbie. By the way, I don't want to cut or start over again as I usually do. I want this to be. It'll seem perhaps like rambling, but I just want to get my thoughts out um, because I had shown Barbie to a friend of mine. Interestingly enough, thankfully enough, he knows about my cross dressing, but that thankfully that wasn't even an issue. He had heard about how Barbie has more depth and substance than people would typically give it credit for. So with a movie, you would think otherwise, but it would be light and fluffy, whatever. But he was interested in seeing it, and I had heard the same thing. Likewise, I had thought about that too. So I was curious. So I had ordered it some time back, and I had it in packaged up, and so I don't even care. I guess this doesn't show up anyway. Never mind. I want to talk about some important things. So I had that driving over there. Of course, earlier today I had been working on an outline for my memoir and restructuring it. If you don't know, I had talked with a coworker who had sometime, I'll say 2 weeks ago, something like that, and she had reminded me of this friend of hers that has written books, and he's had some experience with the publishing industry. So after meeting with her, this is a Thursday, I think a couple of Thursdays ago. Um, she so I she recommended I contact him about this memoir again. So I I'm thinking somebody's bound to just not even pay attention to what I'm talking about. They're just going to make stupid comments about my whatever. Who cares? Okay. Um, I came home and I emailed him and said I'm doing this. I have this memoir. There's essentially really just a draft of it available on Amazon through as a Kindle ebook right now. Um, it's not that much money, but it's a memoir, and I have other stories I've written and material, creative writing material I have available on there as other texts you can buy. But anyway, I want to talk about my mom and it's called Seeking Sunshine, and the colon, the subtitle is something like an ambitious person's failure, something like that. Um, so I wanted to. I emailed him and I explained these are the topics I wanted to talk about. I want to talk about, or I do in there, but I want to expand it and turn it into an actual book that I can actually really feel like I'm legitimately selling a substantive book. Um, I want to talk about my mom and hallucinations and auditory hallucinations and feeling like growing up with an experience like that. And there are probably things that I don't know about that put her in a certain spot where I had to grow up in that situation where um, it where I couldn't be in a better place in which to thrive. I mean, I had a comfortable life. I mean, it wasn't New York City and it wasn't Los Angeles. It was less expensive to live here, um, other than Atlanta, Georgia. Um, I haven't lived any other place. Um, but I think I would have thrived better um, in someplace Los Angeles or New York. They're very expensive, I guess. That's probably a major reason why she settled here instead of there. But I grew up here, and just for lack of resources, I haven't been able to expand my life. And I've done some videos on this in this channel about my high school reunion coming up, and I had thought about. So I had that in mind, um, organizing my chapters and then splitting the this other topic I had into a separate book, possibly, or separate something or other. So I had that on my mind, and of course, naturally, there's this person from my past that we there was a horrible split, I'll just say, and some time back, and then fortunately we were on talking terms again, and then it it like comfortably like stopped communicating, like when you're a friend with somebody and then other things life gets in the way and you just sort of drift apart. We drifted apart, and then a long time later, this is a long time later, I texted the person, and then we were talking. It was really nice, and then ironically a year later, the same month, some outside thing comes in, and it causes me to really wonder, like reconcile and figure out what happened way back. And as I've said before, whenever I do that, it screws things up and makes things worse. Um, I can't resolve this earlier thing. It's like a lot of frustration, a lot of confusion, a lot of hurt feelings, a lot of sadness, and so forth. And it got bottled up, and a thing way in the past, and and then the frustration over not being able to get together with this other person and simply like talk it through and resolve it and learn from both sides, like what happened. Like this other person could learn what I was going through, and I could learn what the other person was going through, and then I could say, oh, that now I understand. Like the big word, understanding. Now I understand what was going on. Oh, okay, so it can be put to rest. I can't say understand too many times. So, um, unfortunately, this outside, I thought it was okay. It was, I couldn't, I guess this other person had a busy life, but I was glad that I was at least able to um, keep things. The movie Stand by Me comes to mind because I told you this is going to be rambling, but it's not rambling in the sense of going hither and yon. I mean, there's a whole point to all this. There's a moment in Stand by Me. There's a character actually that always wanted peace, he's the lawyer, and he winds up getting stabbed at the end of the movie. But it shows them as kids. This is a later narration, tells you what happens in their futures. But he was accused of something he didn't do, and but in contrast to that, you see these kids, and you see him speaking ethically and wanting to maintain friendship, and there's some kind of argument that gets between the two characters, and then he, if nothing else, he says, offers gesture, do we have peace? And that's a good example of what I wanted with this other person. So I don't know if this other person hates me or what. And I want to talk about, I won't mention this friend's name, but or even gender or whatever, but the friend knows both of us, and it's been helpful that I've been able to text with the friend, and the friend says that this person I've been talking about probably doesn't hate me, but it would be nice to hear from this other person. I don't know if I ever will, But another frustrating thing is that um, this other friend is going through personal stuff, and so I'm caught. I caught in a situation where I can't really um, depend so much on this other person to help because of stuff that this other person is going through. And there's some friends of mine that are just ill-equipped to be able to help help me reconcile this or help me deal with this. So um, there's a reunion coming up, and I've wondered if um, the friend that I've been talking about, the person I've been talking about, will be there, and I don't know if the person will be there. And sometimes there are just triggers, as I say, that just spring up and remind me of this other person. And as I was driving home from my friend's house, sorry, that's torn, the washing machine. Um, I'm gonna go change my shirt to, and somehow, hopefully, I'll be able to sew this. It's not the only shirt I have had this happen to. As I was driving home from my friend, and we were watching Barbie. I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about that friend, and I was thinking that um, a long time ago, we didn't know that much about each other, but at least, but things were quiet. And then I made a friendship overture, and that's where the confusion happened. And then after that, for a while, maybe a decade or something, things were okay. Like, we were communicating, messaging sometimes, not as often as I would want, but we were messaging, and that was okay. And then I still had this lingering wish that this other person could understand where I was coming from, and I wished very much that I could understand where this person was coming from. But it was that was held at bay. At least we were friends, sort of, or speaking on speaking terms, and we were okay with each other. And then a stupid thing pops up essentially last year from outside. Some other source comes in and just gets me thinking about, wondering about. And the strange part is that what caused it to really blow up was that I put a message on social media that intending, not mentioning anybody's name, but just mentioning, well, I had guessed, I couldn't know, I didn't understand what was going on. I wish this other person could tell me, so I had to figure this out just for the sake of my own sense of self, put it put it to rest. I needed to resolve it, somehow figure out what caused it. It's not that, like, figure this other person out. It's more so figure out what happened, and to lessen the all that confusion, confusion and frustration, so forth, probably still in me. That and it, I don't want to say justify. That's a wrong word. It's more like understand the total picture. And so I posted something on social media that I, again, not mentioning any names, but that, oh, I hadn't thought about, because a different friend had suggested, oh, maybe this is it, and that sort of it was possible. So I put down that, oh, I hadn't considered this other thing. Oh, well, at least that lets me sleep better, and meaning at least it helps put it to rest. Like, at least there's something, like some kind of resolution to it. But that's when it blew up, and I I haven't been mentioning any names, and I hope nobody can really figure out who it is who these people are I'm talking about. But I just had to get this out. Um, and I don't know if this person hates me, hates my guts, scared of me, is whatever, is afraid of me or what. But I'm explaining. I had to get this out, and that's I have this channel, and so this reunion coming up. I don't know if this person will be there or not, or I don't know if how other people will react to me. Um, I hope it's good. I hope it. I don't know. I hope it's good. Okay, maybe they'll surprise me. Maybe they'll be really happy to see me. Um, but and I mentioned Barbie also because the Barbie movie also because in tandem with the memoir thing. So I was with the memoir I was wrapped up in the past, not talking about this person I was talking about, but in the memoir, just I was in that time frame from childhood and growing up and so forth. So I can see a linkage there where it would like one memory, one time period. You're in this time period, and it brings to mind other things. So that's probably what happened. Doesn't take much at this point, but it's been unresolved. And the thing with Barbie, it was about what I liked about it was like a push, like a push for women, and then a push back patriarchy, and then. But I'm glad the way it ended. It was people understanding that for both sexes that things are difficult, life is difficult, and in reality, um, there are things that we should understand each other better. Um, that's the tie-in that I got from that. I mean, I got more out of the movie, but I mean, relevant to what I'm talking about here. That's why I mentioned that here. Um, so I'm hungry. I haven't eaten much, and I hope maybe the person I still leave out hope that maybe this other person will see this or hear about it, or somebody else that knows me will watch this, read this, watch this, and understand. At least I mean well, and this is where I was coming from. And I'm being vague. I'm not going into detail. And I don't know. I understood from this other friend, the one I'd been messaging about what happened. Um, this other friend um, clued me in on things that the friend knew about the person that was the main person I was talking about. This other friend that I'd been messaging after all the blow up and everything clued me in on what the primary person I was talking about had been going through some of the stuff, and so I'm glad that I at least texted the main person, not knowing entirely. I said I understand, and I'll back away. I this will be my last message, and partly I was exaggerating or I was lying in saying that I understand now, because I didn't fully understand, but I had faith that I, even though I understood partly, or this other friend was helping me to understand what had happened to the primary person in the past. I could exaggerate for the sake of um, the primary person's well-being. And it was easier just to say, I understand now, rather than get into specifics. Because when you're messaging something, just something I figure in life. I hope I come across as a good diplomat, but it's felt like diplomacy sometimes, um, and using my smarts to be able to keep things amicable, or not to say the wrong words. Just be careful with how you phrase things and so forth. Think before you say. Um, if I just say I understand now, and da 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 da, it's short, it's simple, and so forth. I figured I should just say it succinctly, and I'm glad I did. I'm pleased, and I'm still happy about the way I phrased it. Um, I don't know if this other person's changed feelings about me or what happened, but I hope the other person is feeling okay, and I sincerely mean that. And it was rough, and I hope that this other person understands that I had somebody essentially robbed me of $1,200 in a week, and that was the main thing, played with my emotions. Well, my emotions were vulnerable at the time, and I just felt so frustrated that even when I felt frustrated, um, I I put a name on social media that I kept it quiet. I like sometimes I bent over backwards to keep other people's private lives, like not mention anything, not gossip, not whatever. But just in that moment, I felt like manipulated by this outside thing that came in and happened. Lost 1,200 something dollars, and and the person also was from my past, and I just felt so frustrated and used and confused and mad and whatever that I mentioned that person's name, and then it dredged up this, and I mentioned the primary person's name, and then I've since I hope I fully deleted the posting, but uh, I don't want to get into details, but that's how it blew up. Um, and I was there. I was trying to figure out. Well, I keep cool. I hope that people understand that I keep cool, and I'm not reactive. I'm not impulsive, um, and I was sincerely, genuinely trying to reconcile and figure out what happened then, back way, 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 way back then, because I was still clearly confused, and something that other outside influence triggered it, and I just want it resolved in my mind so I can go on. It won't these things won't trigger it. I wanted to understand primarily, and so um, I was talking with, as I said before, I was talking with another childhood friend, and he suggested this other possible explanation, and so um, okay, this part is relatively more impulsive, but at least there was thought behind it. I figured if I didn't mention names, this other person would read it and think, oh, that's good. I don't have to tell this other person what was going on in my life, as long as this other person. And then I thought I was on to what was the actual explanation for it. Turns out, I guess I wasn't, but I was just fishing around, like I'm in the dark, like imagine like a totally black room, and I'm blind, and I'm just feeling around trying to find something, and there's something that felt like a doorknob. So it's like I wanted to let the other person know that okay, it's fine. I think I found the door out, and other person reacted not so well, and that's when it blew up. But I meant well. I wanted the other person to feel more comfortable knowing that the other person didn't have to explain where the door was, just that, like, I think I found the doorknob. I'm okay, and the other person doesn't have to explain it. If it hurts to explain it to me, at least some other person helped